What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Hey everybody, I'm Amy Chang, a nurse, a mom, and a health coach, and this is Healthy AF, where honesty and humor and heart meet real talk about feeling good again, inside and out. We're cutting through the noise, dropping the guilt, and reminding you getting healthy isn't about perfection. It's about choosing yourself, one loving decision at a time. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Healthy AF. My name is Amy Chang, and I'm a health coach here with Healthy Life, Health and Wellness Coaching. Welcome to our third episode on spirituality. As I've said in the other two episodes, I love talking about spirituality and how it impacts our behavioral changes and our lives and the experience we have of ourselves, which is such a big motivator for living the healthy lifestyle that we all want to have in our life. For me, I have always been a little bit of a spiritual person. I find my spirituality in nature. And then, of course, I do practice religion, and that bolsters that spirituality. But if I'm ever in a spiritual hole or feel disconnected, typically I can go right outside and tap into that spiritualness through my nature experience. But I didn't utilize that spirituality probably until I was about 49, honestly, and started practicing a spiritual lifestyle daily. And that's what this podcast is about today, is how do we go from sometimes feeling spiritual or identifying as a spiritually connected person to actually utilizing spirituality on the daily, using it as a tool, not just having it as something we relate to and sometimes feel good about. Okay, so I've been doing book club, which is tons of fun. We are doing this month, How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen and Listen So Your Kids Will Talk. And of course, we are fascinated by, the other women and I are fascinated by what's in that book. And there's a whole range of us, right? Some of us have never had kids. Some of us have older kids, like 20s. Some of us have little kids, like 2-year-olds. Some of us are grandmas. You know, we just all in there, all different kind of experiences. And really, what it boils down to is how well we communicate. So we do a lot of listening exercises when we are doing book club. For those of you who don't know, when we do a book club at Healthy Life, Health and Wellness Coaching, it's a group coaching club. It's not a read it and tell what you thought. It's we're reading this book so that we can integrate these behaviors in our lives. And that has varying levels of difficulty, right? Some of these behaviors are really tough. So where does spirituality come in and the practice of spirituality? Well, you can imagine it came up in book club. We're talking about communicating with, empowering, growing some of our most beloved people in our lives. And they're triggering. It's so challenging not to lose your shizzle when your kid is screaming at you and you want to communicate well. But how do you become present and choose when your emotions are flared, when your fears are fearing, when you think your kid is in danger of even growing up as a rude human being? Well, insert some spirituality. So we've been doing this listening exercise where, and I love this exercise. I do it with a lot of people. It's always just a kind of earth-shattering, where I say, go ahead and ask your partner something and then listen to them and repeat back exactly what they said. No paraphrasing. An and cannot become a thee. A he cannot become a they. It has to be completely exact. And it's hard. It's harder than you think it is. So we've been practicing this over the last few weeks in book club. And I got a great question this week. Like, when would we ever use this in communication with another person, in a conversation with another person? And I said, well, you wouldn't use this skill, but you would use the skills that follow this. The skills that follow being able to repeat back exactly what a person say is being able to reflect back to them, really get how they're feeling, and what they are really trying to communicate, and reflect that back to them. So you can imagine your kid comes home from school and they're having a rotten day and they say something. If you can't be present enough to get what they're really saying to you, because they might be saying like, yeah, my teacher is so stupid. But what they're really saying to you is, I'm a little worried about my grade. If you are not present enough to pick up on that, and you go straight in with the, your teacher isn't stupid. Don't call people stupid. That's not nice. What did you do? Which sounds a lot like something that I would do. If you're not present enough to be with that kid, and in the last episode, we talked about spaciousness and allowing and having love for as a bit of spirituality. If you can't bring that into that conversation when you're triggered because your kid has done something, then you're not working your spirituality. So that's what I'm talking about when I say pulling spirituality into your everyday occurrences. So when the question came up, when would we ever just repeat back what someone says to us in conversation? The answer was, well, we wouldn't. But there's some baby steps learning to listen so intently that then when that loved one does come in and has some like emotional heat and some triggering, that we can whip out that focus and that presence. And that focus and that presence of really being with people, really being connected with people, takes energy and it takes practice. It's typically not something you can just pull out on a Sunday afternoon if you're not used to practicing it. Okay, so I may be getting in a rabbit hole here, but I promise I'm going to bring you all the way back around. We then talked about what it really looked like if someone was present and listening. And we did a couple of demos on how that would look and asked a couple of questions and had some reflections back. And what it really looks like when we really listen to other people without the internal dialogue, without the judgment, without the I'm wrong and she's right, without the yeah, but she's not thinking about that, without the she should go and do this, without the yeah, but, without all of that. When we really focus in and we really get present with what people are saying, something super special happens. It's a very deep connectedness and sense of oneness. And that is your spirituality. Now, when we demoed this in the book club, really tears were coming up. And the people observing the demo had that sense of connectedness as well. And then we got to have a great conversation about like, wow, when do you use this? Well, we probably are not going to use our spiritual connectedness when we're talking about the laundry list or the weather. But in moments that connection is warranted, wanted, needed, you're going to want to bring out that deep sense of spiritual connection. So how do you do that when you're in the minivan and two of the kids are fighting and one of them says to you, I really hate my school? How do you do that? How do you do that when your spouse or partner or roommate or housemate comes to you while you're literally taking a shower or brushing your teeth or running 10 minutes late for work and says, I really am struggling with this? How do you pull out that presence? You practice. You practice and you practice and you practice. You don't leave your spirituality like, hanging out with the Christmas decorations as something you pull out when Christmas is coming, or something you pull out, when you're having a bad day. You practice tapping into that spiritual nature, that connectedness, that oneness, that overarching love, however you want to call that. So what do? I do a lot of journaling. I do at least 10 minutes of meditation every day. I do praying, either written or in silence. And I do a lot of outside presencing work. I love to go outside and look up, because the sky, especially in North Carolina, is so dang pretty. And the leaves and the greenness and the different colors. And if I go on a walk, I like to look for finds. What kind of walnut shells are there today? We've got a black walnut tree over there. What is the symmetry found in a leaf? What are the squirrels doing? What birds can I hear? Really being present. Really being still and trusting and inside the oneness. And when I spend more time there, it comes out easier when I am not in nature and I am not being still and dreamy-eyed and looking up at the sky for all the different colors in gratitude. It comes easier when I'm in the midst of chaos and I want to connect with a person in my life. It also comes easier when I'm in the midst of a very hungry, angry, lonely, tired moment. And what I don't want to do is eat a chocolate chip cookie. It comes there too. It's a grounding sense of, I know who I am and I know what I want, and I'm going to make the choices that reflect that. It is not forcing because I'm strong. It is not bulldozing in with your discipline or your willpower. It is a sturdy foundation of belonging to the whole universe, having a place there, being important, and then making those choices. How you're going to communicate with your people, how you're going to choose what to put in your body, how you're going to choose how to get your sleep in, make your behavioral changes that you want to make. And that's how we use spirituality. We have to practice it on the daily. And some of the practice for me in spirituality is exactly the conversation I had with a friend this morning that she called a God cookie. So funny. It's a God cookie. I was like, what? I'd asked her, like, hey, I'm working on all the podcasts for April. We're doing spirituality. When does spirituality show up in your life? And I told her what I was thinking about for the rest of the podcasts. And she shared what she was thinking about. And she was like, it shows up when we have conversations like these. I'm so grateful for this conversation because this conversation is going to change my whole day. And I said, yeah, girl, me too. Practicing those kinds of moments, those little cookies, practicing those moments when it's easy makes it easier to have that tool in your toolbox when it's not easy. I hope that gives you some good ideas. My question to you today is, if you don't have a spiritual practice, if you don't have a set time or routine that you allow yourself to feel the oneness, you look for it, you go get connected to the whole universe. What one small change can you make that helps you find that spirituality? And if you do have a strong sense of spirituality already, my question to you is, are you using it on the daily? 15 minutes at a time. Are you remembering to be still or pray or go outside when there's a decision to be made or you're feeling uncomfortable? That's all I've got for y'all this week, but I will see you next week on Healthy AF as we wrap up our spiritual month. See you then. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Healthy AF. I hope something you heard helps you take one small, kind step toward your healthiest self. If you love this episode, hit subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you want more support, head over to myhealthylife.coach to connect with me. Remember, you don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to start choosing you. See you next time.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.